Cool. So welcome to Tools for the Remote Classroom with Susie Gomez. For those of you that attended Quizlet 101 and Introduction, I had plugged this presentation today. She was in the picture behind me with the Quizlet sign at ISTE 2019 last year. I'm super excited for Susie's presentation, and if you have questions for Susie at the end, I will moderate that. Please put it in the Q&A tool. It's the on the bottom bar of the presentation screen. It says Q&A. That's easier for us to see questions than it is for us to read them through the chat box. And then as well as with every presentation, it will be recorded and viewed on YouTube later. So without much ado, thank you so much, Susie. I'll hand it over to you.
Great. Hi, everyone. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen because I do have a presentation to share. And let's see. I think you have to approve me, Chad.
You should be able to
share. Oh, there we go. Thank you. All right, can you see it?
Yep, looks good.
Okay, cool. So this is Tools for the Remote Classroom, and I'm going to be focusing on 4 major tools, Google Sites being the biggest one to kind of house all of your tools, and then how you can embed your Google Slides into your site. I'm going to give you a quick run through of Canva and how you can get a free educator account, and then how you can incorporate Quizlet into your Google site as well. So Google Sites is basically a website, and it's not something that you really need to know how to code or anything. It's pretty user-friendly. And so it's a great way for you to house your resources there for your students. Now you can use Google Sites for a lot of different things in the classroom, like digital portfolios, a digital bookshelf, class reflections, a class web page. Even people have used them as escape rooms, so you can have multiple Google Sites. Google Sites are free for you to create with your Google email. You can either do it with your school domain email or your personal email, and I'll tell you a little bit of the differences between the two. For this session, I'm going to focus primarily on how to create a Google site as a virtual classroom, as a hub of resources for your students. So many of us are using Google Classroom, or you're using Canvas, depending on your district. And that can be overwhelming for students if it's not organized correctly, or if you flood your stream with messages or assignments, and then things kind of just get bogged down as time progresses. And kids, if they have 7 teachers and they're getting 7 emails from different teachers, and they're getting announcements from a lot of different teachers during the day, then it's hard for them to kind of find and filter through information. So I think that a site is going to help you and your students feel a lot more organized and just be more effective throughout the school year if you set this up prior to the school year beginning, so you can share it with your students. I'm going to show you how to do that. So basically, you go to sites.google.com, and new will let you create a new site, just like a new document, a Google Doc, or a new Google slide presentation. They do have templates, as you can see here. You can have, they have their own templates for a class or a club or student portfolio. They're pretty generic, and you can use one of those as a starter guide, or you can just create one from blank. So I'm going to go over what you can integrate, and then I'll show you my sample, and then I'll show you how easy it is to create. But that's the site where you would go to. A couple of things that you can include in your site: you can include important links, you can include a page for each unit, you can include videos, anchor charts, digital anchor charts. You can even take pictures of the anchor charts that you create and upload them to your Google site. You can have a digital word wall, which is where Quizlet would come in, a digital library, or digital bulletin board. Basically, anything that you would have in your classroom on your walls, you can put on the Google site, and that would be a separate page. So that's why I'm calling it a digital classroom, so to speak. So basically, anything integrates to Google Sites. You can pull anything from your drive that's already in your drive, including student work. So whenever a student submits an assignment in Google Classroom, it goes straight to your drive. It creates a folder, and you can pull student work to showcase in your Google site if you'd like. You can embed links from Quizlet. You can upload images from Canva, and you can also embed YouTube videos. So everything would be housed in Google Sites. So again, some resources that you can include, interactive slides, anchor charts. Weekly slides are a very big thing I've been seeing online recently. And I also provide a couple of places where you can get some templates so that you don't waste time creating them. Slides Mania is a great place for you to find templates for daily slides, slidesgo.com and slidescarnival.com. You would use Quizlet to incorporate digital flashcards, practice quizzes, or even a match game. You can embed that into your site. For Canva, you can embed animated GIFs, banners, digital posters, and I'll share the link on how to get a free educator account for that. And of course, YouTube, you can find all kinds of video tutorials, audiobooks, and read alouds. So I'm gonna go and give you like a quick demo, and then I'll go over the benefits to kind of just give you a recap of everything that we're going through. So I'm gonna show you first how I would start a site. So let me go back to that website, sites.google.com. So I'm gonna click that. Can you see the new tab open, Chad? I just wanna make sure.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, so once you're on the site, I'm gonna pretend I'm creating one from blank. So I'm gonna click blank just to show you kind of how fast you can make it. And then I'll show you the already kind of made one that I have for my class. And I'm still working on it, but I can show you what I have so far. It's loading. Okay, so you're gonna get an untitled blank site like this, and you have your panel here on the side. So you have insert, you can insert text boxes, images, you can embed links, you can select things from your drive. There's layouts that are already pre-made, and then you have all these options here that you can embed into your site as well. So let's say I want this to be my ELA 8 class website. So that can be my title. You can kind of play with the colors and everything you want later, depending on how you want things to look. But I'm just gonna make something quickly. If I click up here where it says untitled site, I can name my site. All right, and then I can create pages. So I would click here where it says pages, and I click the plus button where it says new page. So let's say I want to create one for my first unit. So I can put unit 1. And then I would have a page for that. Let's say I want a digital word wall. And I also want a digital library. Okay, so I have my pages now done. So now when I go to my home page, I have my home page there, and then I already have my other pages to kind of keep things organized. So I can have things for my first unit under my unit 1 page. I can have things for my word wall here under my word wall page, and maybe links to audiobooks or book recommendations under digital library. So that's how easy it is to make pages. Now let's say that you already want to start for planning for unit 2, but you don't want kids to see it. So I'm gonna add a unit 2. And I'm going to just click it and grab it and move it down because I like things in order. And then I'm going to click these 3 little buttons here, those 3 little dots, not the microphone, sorry, that's my add-on. Okay, and I'm going to click hide from navigation. So when I do that, it hides it from the students, but I can still work on it. And so that's one of the cool things for on the teacher side, that I can set things up and plan ahead without confusing the students with too much information at the same time. So that allows me to work on things and preload things and have things already organized for them for the next unit. And whenever I'm done with that unit, I can click the 3 dots again and then show a navigation, and you can see it shows up here. So I can hide and unhide things as I need to for my students. So that's the basic, like just general setup of it. And then you can kind of embed all the things you want. So I'll show you what mine looks like so far, so that you kind of see what it could look like. Okay, can you see the site, Chad? Just making sure. Look at my point of reference.
Yep, looks good.
Okay, cool. So here's my site. So just to kind of give you an idea of what this looks like. So this is like my home page. And in my home page, you can also include buttons. So the buttons can be linked to another website. So I've linked things to my kids where they can check their grades. So if they click on Aries, they can check their grades. If they click on Accelerated Reader, they can take their book quizzes. Our digital textbook is called Study Sync. So I have the link there for that. And it's just kind of like a hub where they can go find all the portals to everything they need just for our class. I kind of give them a brief description of what this website is all about. Again, you can also share this link with parents, and then they don't have to log on to anything. They can just click the link. You can send it via remind text message, and they can kind of check your link. I have their login information. At my school, our kids have logins for all kinds of things, for math, for history, for English. They have various portals. So they often ask, they don't remember their logins because it's not standardized throughout all their applications. So then I have the login information there. And these graphics here I made with Canva. So I'm going to show you how easy those were to make as well. So these are images. So as you can see over here in my panel, I have things that are hidden. So things that I know I'm going to work on later that I don't need my kids to see right now because it's just too much. So I've hidden like my Unit 2, Unit 3, and Unit 4 so far, but I do have some things already available for them. So I have a Unit 1 page set up, and my district hasn't really given me much information about what our units are going to look like because they're revising our pacing guides, but I have the basic framework there so that when I do have the information, I can just plug it in and it'll all be organized under Unit 1. So that's going to be my Unit 1 page. Then in my e-library, I embedded a Google slide. And anytime that I update my Google slide, it will update automatically on my website. So once I embed my Google slide deck, I don't have to update my website anymore because as soon as I update my slide, it will already be reflected on my site. And all I need to do to insert a slide deck is go to my drive and search for the slide deck that I want. And of course, my computer is a little slow, so it's searching. But it's pretty easy to do. So once my slides log in, so if I just search for like library, let's say this is what I wanted. Right, so like if this is the one here, so I'm gonna delete it just so you see how easy it is. So I'm gonna delete the slide deck. So I went to my drive, I looked up the slide deck that I wanted. This is something that I already made in Google Slides. I'm gonna click insert, and now it's in my Google site. And then I just kind of make it as big as I want it to be. So kids can either interact with the slide deck directly here on the site, or if they click it, it can open a new tab to see the slide deck itself. So I know that I've seen a lot of teachers kind of create these Bitmoji classrooms on social media, and they probably share it with their students in Google Classroom, but unless it's pinned somewhere, they really won't be able to revisit those. And so this is just a good place to kind of keep everything streamlined for your students. I also created a digital bulletin board page because I do want to showcase student work. And this is something that's unfortunately we're not going to be able to do if we're not in the classroom. in a physical space, but you can do it digitally, especially if your students are training things in Google Classroom. You can just create the placeholders, and then whenever you want to showcase something by a student, you go to your drive, find it, and then upload it to your digital bulletin board. So I have like the placeholders there for them. As soon as they submit work, then I can select something to showcase. In your digital word wall, this is where you can incorporate Quizlet. So this is one of the parts that I'm most excited about, because as a teacher for English, I've had a word wall in my classroom, but I really don't feel like my kids really interact with it. And that's something that's kind of bothered me, because I want something to be manipulated by students. And this is a great way to do it. So in the word wall, I've already created sets in Quizlet. And you can embed them. It does give you this little announcement, and I talked to Chad about it already. It says that they use cookies on Quizlet as described in your privacy policy, but really you just have to click the X. Let me show you how it would look for students. So they'll get these little pop-ups, and you can just tell them they can either click the X or they can click got it, and then it'll start working just fine. So I've embedded my deck, which are the flashcards that I created for each story that we read. So they can click on the card.
Rigor, hardship, difficulty.
You can enable the audio, and you can decide here, if I click the little lever, if I want the audio on or off, if I want to start with the term or definition, and I'll show you how to embed this. And this comes straight from Quizlet. So I already made these decks in Quizlet maybe like 3 years ago, and I'm still using them because we're still reading the same story for our curriculum. You can also embed the match game, so they can play all of this here in their site. And then it does time them. Oops, I should probably actually try to read these. Let's see, it. Right, and so then they can play that. They can also choose a study mode from here. So just like they would on Quizlet, except that now it's on their site. So they don't have to leave the site. They don't have to have multiple logins to do that. So let me show you how I embedded the Quizlet stuff. My one suggestion for embedding Quizlet is that you don't do it through your school email account, like your Google for Education account, because it won't let you embed the link. It will only let you, it just won't show up. So what I did is I created my Google website through my school email, but then I also shared it. So if you click right here where it says little person, share with others, I shared it with my personal email. And in my personal email, I can embed all these things. I'm not sure why it does that. I think that some schools have restrictions on your website. So I shared it with myself and made myself an editor from my personal email. And from there, I can basically embed anything. So here's how you embed from Quizlet, and it's really easy. So if I open a new page and I go to Quizlet.com, and again, sorry for the lag. I can choose one of my sets. So let's say I want this one, New Directions, which is a story by Maya Angelou that we read. Should be opening soon, sorry. Okay, so I have my set here, right? And all I need to do to embed it in my Google site is go down here. You're gonna see an arrow soon once my computer finally loads. Yes, here. So I click these three little dots right under the flashcards. And then it says embed. So I copy the embed code and I can decide what I want to embed. Do I want to embed the match game, the learn activity, the test, the flashcards, or the spell? And then I copy the HTML. Again, I don't have to know how to do this. I just copy it. But on my website, it looks like I'm pretty tech savvy. So then I click here where it says embed. And then I click on embed code. And then I paste it. And then I click next. And that's how it, and then it embeds it. So once I do that, then I could press publish. So publish is like your save button on your Google Sites. And it basically allows your viewers to see what you've changed. If you don't press publish, things will save on your Google site, but only you can see them, only you as the editor. Once you click publish, then it's published to the public. So whatever link you've given to your students, they'll only see whatever you've allowed to be published. It does automatically save as you change things on your site. It just doesn't let your viewers see what you've changed until you've decided that it's ready for publication. So that's kind of the one cool thing about sites as well. If you're not ready to quite make an upgrade yet, then just don't press publish yet. But if you do want your students to see it, you do have to press publish. So the embedding, like I said, for Quizlet and Google Sites is super simple because Quizlet has already done the work of creating the HTML code for you. And you can decide if you want to do the flashcards, the match game, or anything else. Another thing you could do is just put the link to the set and they'll go straight to the website. But I think there's something cool about just staying in one place versus like opening multiple tabs, especially if you're going to be teaching with multiple programs where kids have to have a lot of tabs open. This just allows them to stay in one tab and different pages. You can also upload anchor charts. Like I said, this is something that you would normally have around your walls in your classroom, which for most of us will not be a reality this fall. So if there's something that you want your kids to reference frequently with or without your help, like sentence starters or transitions or shortcuts to their computer use or just basic reminders, then you can have a space where they can go look at their anchor charts, right? In the classroom, like our kids know where our posters are, so they'll turn and look at that poster, or they'll turn and look at something for reference, or you point at something. That's not the situation that most of us are going to be in this school year. So having a designated place where you're going to have your anchor charts, that's a good kind of just resource to have for your students. And again, you don't want to like drown out these charts in your stream in Google Classroom, or have your students not know where they are, or having to link it every time you're going to use it. So you can download them as pictures, or you can just upload a slide deck where you'll have multiple anchor charts and they can sort through that. So I've embedded one as a slide, and I've also embedded some just as pictures that don't have multiple pages. So you can do either way. And the way that you do that is you go to insert, and you can either click images or you can pull it from your drive, wherever you have it. So it really comes down to like where your things are in your drive, and you can find them easily. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about Canva. So a lot of these things I've made through Canva. I don't want to spend too much time designing things if something out there can already make it for me. Because as teachers, especially like if you like all the like animated things and the fonts and everything, it can take up a lot of time. I love just like looking at things and design, and so I can start something and then an hour later I haven't really like finished something completely because I've just been tweaking things so much. And so Canva has really allowed me to not worry too much about the design because they already have a lot of things already made that I can just modify to implement. So for example, on my homepage, I mentioned these two graphics here that I made. So let me show you Canva. Canva does have a free educator account as well. And it goes nicely with Google Sites because you can download everything you make on Canva as a JPEG or a PNG, which are picture files. And you can edit them on Canva and then just upload them as an image. Another thing about Google Sites is that you really don't have very many fonts to choose from. There's like a preset font selection. And so if you are that type of person that like wants different colors and different fonts and things like that, then you can just make it in Canva and then just upload it to Google Sites. So let me show you Canva. All right, so I'm gonna share this link. And like I said, you can apply for Canva's educator program because there's some pro features that you can access for free as an educator. So like extra images, extra layouts, extra templates that normally they charge for are free for educators. And all you have to do is go to their website, fill in the form that says your name, your email, your school website, the name of your school, and they usually approve your account, I want to say within 3 to 4 business days. They're pretty fast. And then you'll have the pro account forever. You can also make templates that you share with students. Chad, can you see my Canvas screen?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, so once you log on to Canva, they have all these templates you can choose from. So they even have education templates. They have social media templates, which are the ones that I'm using for Google Sites because they're sized correctly for Google Sites, and I don't have to worry about like the dimensions of any of the graphics. So for example, if I just click on Instagram post, it's a regular square. And you can create a blank one, or you can just choose one of like the hundreds of nice ones they already have that already have like matching fonts and matching colors and all that kind of stuff. So you can just kind of look through any of these and then you click one and you can edit it. So for example, the one that I used was that, this is the one that I used for like the coming soon graphic in my digital bulletin board. I think I chose the other one. Yeah, so they have tons of them. So let's just, I'll give you a demo with the coming soon one. So I can just click this one. And I'm gonna click use template. So I can show you like how fast you can do it. And I'm just gonna change the words. Again, I don't have to worry about the fonts. I mean, I can change the fonts and colors if I want, but you don't have to. And this is also a good place for you to like make digital anchor charts too, because the layouts are already kind of made for you. Okay. And then all you do is now you download. So I can click download and I can download it as a JPEG, JPEG PNG, which is a transparent background, a PDF, or whatever file I want. I'm going to download as a PNG or a JPEG is the same thing, depending on how you're using it. So I'm going to download it and then download to my computer. And now I can just drag and drop it into a Google site, or I can upload it to my drive and save it there. So I'm going to go back to my bulletin board. I hope your computer is not as slow as mine. Okay, so then I'm gonna delete this one just to kind of show you. So now that I've downloaded the file, then I'm just gonna drop it in. And Google Sites kind of shows you where you want to drop it in. Sorry, I think I have to share that screen with you. Okay, so I deleted this one, right? And then I already downloaded the file from Canva. So I'm just gonna drop it in here. See, I didn't even have to upload to my drive. I just have it in my desktop, so I can just drag and drop, and then it's ready to go. So it's as an image, and then I can size it a little bit bigger or smaller. But the image is already formatted to kind of just be able to drag and drop and include it in my website. So I don't have to worry about like formatting and things like that. Canva also has like banners for your Google Classroom that you can find here under education. You just kind of search Canva through Google Classroom, but it's easy to just make it there, download it as an image, and then upload it to your accounts, whatever you're using. So I highly recommend you using Canva if you're going to use Google Sites to kind of just make it look more user-friendly sometimes. All right, so for YouTube tutorials, you would do it the same as you would share on Google Classroom. So you can just use the link. You can embed the video, or you can just share the link with your students. So it works the same way as embedding the Quizlet decks, or you can just put the video itself. So you can embed it as a URL, or you can embed it as HTML code. All right, so just kind of give you like a recap, and then we can answer some questions if you like, Chad. Google Sites just lets you have an organized location of resources for your students, and that's going to be a very big benefit for your students this fall. You can make resources available when needed. So you can hide page features, you can leave things up, and you can make them public for your students as they need them instead of overwhelming them with all this information, or just leaving all this information there all year long if you're not going to really need to reference it back again. It's a central hub without drowning students with emails and announcements in their Google Classroom feed. So it just leaves your it frees up your Google Classroom from clutter, basically. You can reuse and revise your site as needed. So the following year, you can make tweaks if you're going to use the same stories or the same concepts, and just revise that as needed, and not have to redo everything all over again. You can pin the Google site in your Google Classroom as a material under classwork for easy access. So you can still house the site somewhere in your Google Classroom for students to find easily, and you don't have to kind of give them that site every time. It's easy to share to parents if needed. They don't have to log on to anything. They can just kind of click it from a text message or an email, and then maybe bookmark it if they need to. And you can refer students to one location versus multiple sites. I'm going to be posting more about this. I already have one post in Google and Instagram about this. And you're more than welcome to visit or ask any questions from me there. You can find me at Engage the Middle. My email's there, and I also have a couple tutorials on YouTube, but not too many. So if you want to have any open up for questions, Chad, I'm more than happy to answer some.
Great, thank you so much, Izzy. So teachers, go ahead and drop your questions in the Q&A tool. We do have a lot, and so I will go through them and try to make sure the questions are geared to Susie's presentation so that she can answer them. Some of them are a little bit more troubleshooting questions. We do have the Quizlet Help Center, as well as support from Quizlet. So Susie, I will go through these questions. One question from Frank is, are we able to collaborate with a co-teacher on Google Sites as well?
Yes, so if you go to your site, let me show you the class site, and you click here where it says share with others, then you can type in your coworker's email and make them an editor. And then both of you can edit your site, just like you would a Google Doc or Google Slide Deck.
Great. And then Susie, for a Spanish teacher, Claudia asks, do you recommend any sites that contain a virtual calendar template that you like?
A virtual calendar?
Template? Like how you set up your calendars? Do you have any like recommendations for calendar templates?
Calendar templates, I would look at Slidesmania. Probably has, most likely has some sort of template. I'm not sure if Canva has one. I mean, let me see. Sometimes they have calendars too.
And then one question that's coming up, and I'll answer them. And yes, all of the Quizlet Unconference videos will be on YouTube, on the Quizlet's YouTube channel. I'll drop that link in the chat so you can easily access it. They will be up sometimes next week. So if you're looking for presentations from yesterday or today, they're not going to be up today or tomorrow. So just keep an eye out on that, and they will be available. And then as I go through these questions, so Susie, to clarify, do you make a new site for each class period?
Oh, good question. So my plan is to make one for each subject that I teach. So for example, I teach English 7, and most of my class periods will use the same resources because it's the same class. For English 8, then I would make a different site. But you can duplicate a site. So if you already like made the layout for a site, then you can just edit it as needed. So I can show you how to do that too. So let me see. Can you see the site?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So if you go here where it's, you have the 3 little dots that says more, you can put duplicate site. And so that will copy everything I just made on this site. So it'll have the same pages, the same fonts, the same colors, everything. And then I can just edit it as needed. So for example, I teach English 7 and English 8. They're gonna have the same number of units, but they won't have the same units. So I can have the same placeholders duplicated. My English 8 is also gonna need a word wall, a digital library. So everything that I made for one class, I can duplicate for the next one and just tweak it as I need for that subject area. If you teach similar subjects, then that's easier for you. If you teach completely different ones, then it might be a little harder. But like I showed you, it's really pretty easy to set up a site once you get the hang of it.
And then Susie, could you also just briefly for our teachers explain the difference between Google Sites and Google Classroom?
Yeah, so Google Classroom is where you assign assignments. So students turn in their work through Google Classroom. You can assign an assignment, they can attach a document, turn it into you for a grade. And you can have students have conversations on there. A Google site is basically more like a viewing system for them to access resources. So it's a hub where you can put links and presentations and things like that, and not overflow your Google Classroom with too many things where they can't really find a way to organize their things in kind of compartmentalized places. So I think that they can work together, but they're not the same because you can't, well, I mean, I guess you could put a form in Google Sites if you wanted to accept student responses, but Google Classroom is a lot better for accepting student work.
Right, and then so it was being respectful of Susie's time. I think we have about 2 minutes left, so I'll ask a few other questions that I'm seeing a lot of teachers ask. And then, so Susie, can you just refresh on how did you make the Bitmoji classroom image?
Oh, that one takes a lot longer than you probably think. So I would YouTube Bitmoji Classroom, but basically it's a slide deck. So you create a Google slide. Let me see if I can show it to you. Okay, let's see. So it's just a Google slide deck. And if you go to YouTube and you search Bitmoji Classroom, there's like tons of tutorials out there right now. But basically the background is just a Google search image. So if you look up wall and floor black background, then you'll find a background. And then if you Google, like, let's say, transparent bookcase, you'll find something and so forth. And you just kind of put it all together and to create an image. Now, like I said earlier in the presentation, if this is embedded in your Google site, then anytime you make a change to your slideshow, it will appear on your site without having to press publish, because it's changing on your slide, not on your site. So, so all these are just images that you move, and then you just go to insert images, and you can search the World Wide Web for anything you want.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Susie, being respectful of your time. Everyone, you can find Susie at Engage the Middle on her social media channels. She shared that. This video will be up on YouTube next week. We will email and message, excuse me, all of our attendees that it's up and it's ready for you to access. Susie, thank you so much. That was such a great presentation. You're getting a lot of love in the chat from your thousands of attendees. So thank you so much.